Hi there, my name is Carly and this is my channel Sewskate, where we talk things thrifting, sewing, fashion, and Berta Style magazine. Today I have a fun video on ways that you can save money while sewing the dream wardrobe you've always wanted. So I have 5 tips for you on ways to get into this hobby without breaking the bank. When I first started sewing, I thought, oh my gosh, I need to buy everything brand new and build up this amazing stash of fabrics. And what it comes down to is there's ways to do that while still staying on a budget and being really sustainable with the environment and making sure we're making really great choices on the pieces that we are making. So the first tip that I have for you is thrift as much as you can. Buy as much as you can secondhand. It's great for the environment and it's great for your pocket. And that goes as far as fabric. In the kind of like bedding section of every thrift store, there's going to be one little nook and cranny where everyone's donated fabric is. And so you can look at bed sheets. There's lots of really great like 100% cotton, lovely ditzy floral print that you can turn into a lovely dress and no one would ever think that it's a bed sheet. Or you can buy actual fabric that people have donated, and there's always a little stash. You just have to find where it is in your thrift store and look all the time because it's cycling through. And I feel like through the pandemic, everyone has kind of picked up a hobby. So lots of new people are sewing, like myself, like you. And so you got to make sure you get there and look through the fabric and see what there is. And another part of that is think outside the box. Things that aren't necessarily like fabric that you would, you know, buy at the store. You could find a awesome shower curtain and make a raincoat out of it because it's that same kind of fabric, you know what I mean? Or you could find curtains and make a jacket out of it. I love making jackets out of curtains because they're that kind of like heavy, don't need to interface them much, and you can find really interesting fabric. When I bought my sewing machine, I ended up going on like Facebook Marketplace and I found my sewing machine. It was used, and normally I'm in Canada, so the sewing machine that I had bought it wasn't used very much, and they were selling it brand new for $800 and I was able to find it online for half the price. So I bought my sewing machine for $400 instead of $800, and it was a really great investment for me. It wasn't my first sewing machine. I had just kind of, my husband bought me one from Walmart. It was like a $100 like Singer like special, you know what I mean? Like it could do buttons and a zigzag stitch. So I sewed a lot on that. I sewed on that for my first year of sewing. I made jeans. I made everything that I probably still sew today on that sewing machine. This one is just my newer one, the Quantum Stylus. It sews better with kind of like slinky fabrics. It doesn't like suck up the fabric. And that becomes like a luxury once you can afford a nicer sewing machine, upgrade your sewing machine. It really helps to make sewing easier, more joyful when you're not having to like pull the bobbin out and unstick everything that's all wrapped around your bobbin. So a better quality machine really saves a headache, but don't pay full price, buy it secondhand. Right now, the quilted jacket trend is really happening. So you can go to the thrift store, see who's donated their quilts. I was just there yesterday and there was this beautiful all purple quilt and it was so stunning. I almost picked it up, but I had to restrain myself. It was a little expensive and it was kind of like a dusty lavender color, and it's not in my color palette for the fall. It would be awesome for spring, but I don't know if this quilted jacket trend is gonna, you know, live on until next spring. And we want to make sure with each of our purchases we're getting the most bang for our buck, that we are making our dollar go as far as it can and making sure the pieces that we're making are going to stay in our wardrobe for a long time. That brings me to only shopping the sales. So a lot of times when we start sewing, we go into the fabric store and we start looking around and we're like, oh, this fabric is amazing. I have no idea what I want to make with it, but I just have to have it. So you pay for it and it's like $50 for a viscose 3 meters that you don't know how much of this fabric you're gonna need for your dream project and you don't have a pattern for it, you have no idea what you're doing, but you just have to have it. I have done this so many times, and a lot of those fabrics that I bought without having a plan for them, they're still in my stash and they're kicking around, and I get a little fabric precious about them, being like, this is really nice, really expensive. I don't know what to make of it, or I've got 3 meters and I need 3.5 to make, you know, the maxi dress of my dreams. So buy only what you need once you have a pattern. Unless you really want to treat yourself, then you do you. But if you are doing that and buying stuff without an idea of what you're going to do with it, try to shop the sales. So where I am, I'm in a pretty small town, so there's only like two places to buy fabric that are not thrift stores where I live. And so one of them is Fabricland, and so I get the flyer to my email and I look in the flyer, and every month there's like a couple things that are on crazy deals. So I know twice a year they sell denim at half price. So instead of, you know, paying $70 to make a pair of jeans, you're paying $35, which is amazing in my books. The first time I ever made jeans, I paid $70 for denim that I'd never sewn jeans before. I had never sewn pants before even. They were the first things that I made that had a fly on it. And I didn't know what I was doing. I spent all this money, made this pair of jeans, and I didn't do a fit test or anything. And you know, I only wear jeans that are high-waisted. These jeans didn't come out that high-waisted. And you know, I wasted this money on this project that I thought was going to be amazing, but I hadn't made a muslin for it. I hadn't made a toile. I didn't know what I was doing. So make sure you're shopping sales, so then the risks that you're taking with sewing cost you less money in the long run. That brings me to my next point, which is make a muslin. Make a test piece of clothing out of something maybe you've thrifted, out of a bed sheet. Make some curtains or some pants out of curtains because they're that heavy bottom weight fabric, and see if you like the fit before you invest in, you know, that $70 beautiful denim that you know might mess up. You might want to raise the rise by an inch or drop the crotch curve or anything like that. You want to make sure that your dollars are being spent on things that you will wear for a long time, and that way they're an investment in your closet, and you don't get too sad when you look at them being like, oh my gosh, that was a waste of money. And another thing about shopping sales is with patterns. Where I live at Fabricland, the fabric or the patterns are, for like one McCall's pattern, it's $20. But a couple times a year they do the half price, so you can buy the patterns for $10 instead of $20, which is still crazy to me. So that brings me to my next and most passionate point, is sew with the Berta magazine. This magazine is amazing if you are starting out sewing and you don't have a lot of patterns in your collection and you want to add a whole bunch of patterns to your collection. So with every Berta magazine, there's at least 30 patterns in each one. And I think they do like 8 of them are the curvy sizes, which kind of go from size 44 and up. And then they do a couple petite patterns and a couple kid patterns, but there's for sure 30 patterns in each. And where I am in Canada, I pay $14 Canadian a month for the whole like year subscription. So it comes to $170 something for the year of patterns. And so in one issue, when I get 30 patterns and I pay $14, that works out to 46 cents per pattern. So you can look at it that way and be like, oh my gosh, that's an amazing deal, but there's no way I'm gonna sew 30 things. And you won't. No one's gonna sew 30 things this month unless you know, do this full time, it's your job, whatever. So I sew normally about 4 things each month from the Berta magazine. So that works out to about $3.50 for each pattern that I'm making. The rest of the patterns that I don't make, they go away, and who knows, 10 years from now I can look through my magazines and be like, oh my gosh, this is back in style. I love this funnel neckline. I love these high-waisted jeans. This is back in style again. And they'll be around forever, and everything in the magazine is super on trend. Not that that's important because we want to make long-lasting garments, and there's something in it for everyone. There's easy patterns, there's difficult patterns, there's anything from a t-shirt to a trench coat, and it is amazing. You can even sew stuffed animals. They put in every issue a couple scrap busting projects, so they'll show you how you can use your scraps up in something that you'll like, something you can gift to people, and be as, you know, minimal waste as you can be with each of your sewing projects, which is amazing. I love all the little crafty features, and if I finish everything that I want to sew for the month, I always try to get done one of those that are in each magazine, and then yeah, it really gets rid of my scrap pile and gives me something cute that I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I made that, you know? This brings me to my last point. Another way to save money is to watch a lot of YouTube. So if you're watching YouTube and you're watching sewing tutorials and you're watching, you know, instructional videos on this is how you do this is how you sew a zipper, this is how you do a fly, this is how you do a buttonhole, tips and tricks for this, you're gonna make less mistakes in your sewing. And the less mistakes you make, the more wearable, amazing garments that you can have and feel good about, that will make you want to keep sewing. And so watch YouTube, fine tune your skills, Google as you go, be like, how do I do this? Say you're sewing the Berta magazine and the instructions, they're quite sparse. So you go, oh my gosh, what do they mean when they say that? Type it into YouTube and I bet you there will be 4 videos showing you, oh, this is how I do this technique, this is how I do that. So watch YouTube. It's a great resource on learning how to sew, and it's free. How amazing is that? Those are all my tips and tricks on how to save money when you start sewing. I hope you guys all have the most wonderful rest of your day. If you haven't subscribed already, please hit the subscribe button. It really helps me out, and it can help you see when new videos come up on tips, tricks, and ways to sew, so you save more money by making less mistakes. I hope you guys have the best day. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.